Hi, writers. Today in writing, we are going to talk about how to take our small moment stories about our realistic fiction characters and turn them into multiple stories about the same characters. Hazel's so excited. She wanted to be with me during this video. So she's going to help me think about ways that we can write many stories about the same character. That's called a series. Take a minute right now, writers, and think about a series of books that you have read. We have read a lot of the Eric Carle series of the Who Do You See or What Do You See, like Brown Bear, and Panda Bear, and Polar Bear, and Baby Bear. All of those, that's a series of picture books for young children that have similar characters, similar patterns, very predictable. But there are a lot of series that we've even been reading about in our guided reading time. Like, raise your hand if you've read a Horrible Harry book, or two, or three. A book. A Horrible Harry book. All of those books are about Horrible Harry and his friend Doug. So in that series, you use the same imaginary character, and then you include the same friends as supporting characters. And we'll think about Horrible Harry in just a minute. If you haven't read those, who in here has read an Amelia Bedelia book? That's a series of books all about Amelia Bedelia. Several books that tell different Amelia Bedelia stories. But Amelia Bedelia is still a predictable character, right? She's always getting something confused. She's so funny. I love her. Magic Treehouse, one of my favorite series in young chapter books. A lot of us are reading Magic Treehouse books right now, and I know that we love both Jack and Annie and Morgan Le Fay and all of the friends that they have along the way. But Jack and Annie are in all of those books. So those are some series that I know that we have read together, and I know that you guys are familiar with. So today, writers, what I want us to focus on is how do we take our stories about our realistic fiction stories about our made-up characters, and how do we turn those into a series of stories about the same character? I think that we're going to have an anchor chart, and I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things you need to keep in mind as you are creating a series. Now, the number one thing that I want you to remember in a series is that all series have a main character or two or three main characters. Oh, the A to Z Mystery series. A lot of you have been reading the A to Z Mysteries as well. Those are really good with Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose. That has three main characters in it. Series keep the same character. So when you start your new writing today, you will be writing about your same character. I will continue to write about Jordan, and we're going to be changing the story a little bit. It'll be another seed moment from her life. So things that we need to remember about writing a series are that we keep the same character. We also use the same supporting characters. We will start a new day or night in each story. So it doesn't matter if it's a daytime or a nighttime story, but it will be a new one. So we're not writing a long watermelon story on one book. We're taking little seeds and we're putting them into different stories. So it's still small, teeny tiny moments, but we're writing about the same character, so we'll be writing several of those. We will have things happen in about the same place. We'll have our beginning where we introduce our characters and our setting, our middle where kind of our problem shows up, and our end where things come to a conclusion. And then we'll include maybe the same friend or pet, brother or sister, those supporting characters. Like in Horrible Harry, Doug is a great supporting character, but so is Song Lee, so is Sydney, so is the teacher and the librarian. Those are supporting characters that come back and forth inside the stories. Morgan Le Fay is a supporting character in Magic Treehouse. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose have each other, but then like their neighbors or their parents or their friends at school would be supporting characters that may come in and out. They might be in one story and not in another. And then we'll have different adventures for our character. And finally, one of my favorite parts that keeps it interesting is that our characters should be predictable. Like Jordan is adventurous, and so she's probably going to get into the same type of trouble more than one time. In my first book about Jordan, she was on her thinking rock, and she discovered an animal that could have been dangerous, that snake. So I'm thinking that because she's so adventurous and she loves to spend time in the woods, she may come across another animal that could be a little bit dangerous, or maybe she'll find a mama deer and her babies, and she'll be really close, and that could be very dangerous if she doesn't handle that situation the right way. Or maybe Jordan might find something else that's a little bit dangerous that's not an animal. Maybe she'll find, I don't know, she's out in the woods. Maybe some people had been out in the woods and they dropped bottles or things like broken glass, things that could be dangerous. And how does she get out of that trouble? We can give her different ways to get out of the same type of trouble. So when we're writing our series, that means our new stories about the same characters. How are we going to make these characters predictable so that we keep their same, the person, their character, who they are, but then we put them in different adventures? Right now, before you get started writing, I think it's time for us to talk with our partners a little bit. So with your thinking partner, really quick, I want you to tell them about the new idea for a new story that you have. And then once you guys have talked about that a little bit, it's time for you to get writing. Now, Miss Redmond, you have the books, the new writing books already made. So if you want to just pass those out to their desks, or if you want to leave them in the back and they can go get them from our writing area, then that is fine with me too. Whatever works with y'all. Say happy writing. Happy writing. Thanks, writers. Have a great writing time. I can't wait to hear your series.